Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my lovely students. How are you all? I hope you all are fine. This is Pakistan International School Taif's virtual learning class for the subject Science for grade 7th. Today we are on chapter number 5. Today we will start chapter number 5, which is about water. And our topic is water importance and its sources. Here we go for chapter number 5. And in this chapter, we will see about different facts about water. We'll see some sources, water's importance for our life. We'll see some impurities which make the water unclean, as well as we'll see some ways which are used to clean the water. So let's get started. Dear students, this is our beautiful planet Earth. So if you see this all blue color, this is what? This is water. Yes. And water covers more than 70% of Earth's surface. So water is the one of the most common compound on the Earth's surface as well as in the atmosphere. So it covers more than 70% of the Earth's surface. So water is present in different forms, as we know. All the three states of matter. What are these? Solids, liquids, and gas. So all the three states of matter, water is present in. So when this liquid form of water just freezes out and its temperature decreases. So this is called its freezing point, and this is 0 degrees centigrade, at which the water boils up. This boiling temperature or boiling point, that is called 100 degrees centigrade, and that is standard for wherever you are. That is standard for the water. 0 degree FP freezing point and 100 degrees centigrade, that is boiling point of water. So you know that water is a compound, yes, because we have studied this in grade 7 in detail. Sorry, grade 6 in detail. So if you see here, the water is composed of as we know that water is composed of one oxygen atom and two hydrogen atoms. So both are different atoms. When they combine chemically, they form water. So here you can see that water is like water molecule is going to chemically formed, like one hydrogen atom is combined chemically with one oxygen atom, and later on other hydrogen atom also combined with the same molecule. So we see that in water we are having two H and one oxygen atom. So that can be written as H2O. That can be written as H2O. So water is a compound that is having H2O formula, and in one drop of water, there is not only one molecule is present, but there are billions of molecules present in one drop of atom. one drop of one drop of liquid water, there are billions of molecules present in that. So they are uncountable. So that is also said to be universal solvent, if you remember, because every thing, like lots of, not every, but lots of things are dissolved in the water. If we see the importance of water for our life, not only our lives, but all the plants and animals which are living organisms, they depend on water for their survival. So as we know, then in Holy Quran, lots of time it is said that we have created all the living organisms from water. So plants, fish, insects, birds, other animals, they need water to grow. We know that plant also need water to grow to make food for during photosynthesis. So what is photosynthesis actually? The preparation of food that is called glucose in the presence of water as well as sunlight and chlorophyll. So plants need water for making of food. So some plants and animals live only in water, as we know that aquatic animals and aquatic plants, they live in water. So from where they get oxygen? They get oxygen from water, which is dissolved in the water. As we know, that is H2O, like oxygen and hydrogen, as well as the oxygen which is present in the atmosphere, that is dissolved in the water. So that oxygen is used for by the animals and plants to do the respiration, and aquatic plants use carbon dioxide as well for their photosynthesis process. So our body needs water. So two-thirds of our body is having water. Like every part, every cell depends on water for their chemical reactions, for different activities. For example, water helps to digest our food. It removes waste products from our body. It cools our body according to the temperature. So we are having saliva in our body, like in our mouth, that is having great value for the digestion purpose. So this is also water. So every organ of the body is having mucosal membrane, which is moist every time. Like the organ's membrane itself secretes some type of water, which keeps them moist. Body cells need water to grow and survive for chemical reactions as well. So body waste has to be flushed out in the presence of water, and that is mainly through urine, which is having lots of quantity of water. They lubricate our joints if water is not present or liquid is not present in the joints, so the joints get stick and stuck with one another. There will be pain. So our body needs water to manufacture the hormones and some chemicals. Those are called neurotransmitters, and they are having very important role in the body's growth. Water needs by the body to regulate the temperature by sweating and respiration. We know that respiration, as well as for breathing, we remove out water from our breathing, as well as sweating in summer. It cools down our body temperature. So that is also shock absorber. So water present in the brain as well as in the spinal cord and in the body organs around them. So if we are having any jerk and shock, so they save us from that damage. So that is also helpful for the digestion in the stomach and intestines, as well as in the form of blood. Oxygen dissolves in the blood and in the water and reaches to every part of the body. So it means water is the major component of most of the body parts. So it might be able to live for a month without food, but we cannot survive more than 3 weeks without water. So if we don't take water in proper quantity, up to 2 liters per day, so we can we can be dehydrated, and the person can die very soon. So if we see that in our body, uh, our blood our blood contains 95% of water, brain contains 75% of water, 85% of the lungs is having water, and our whole body consists of 60 to 70% of water. So water is everywhere in our body to survival. So if we see other living organisms, for example, vegetables and plants as well, so we can find different quantity of water in different vegetables and fruits, as well as this is very important fact that water has no color, no taste, and no smell. That's why it is widely used in different purposes in our life. So if we see, if you don't drink water, so don't worry, you have to drink or you can eat your water, because lots of quantity of water is present in different vegetables and fruits as well. So consume these fruits, so it means you are eating your water. So let's talk about some sources of water. So we are having two types of water. One is surface water and other one is underground water. So if we see that on the earth, 97% of earth's surface is water, and it is present in the forms of oceans mostly, if you see this one. So only 3% of water is fresh water, and which is usable and drinkable. In the air, water vapors are also present, which then later on form into the form of clouds, and then rainfall occurs. And we are having underground water also. So we'll talk about them later. So let's talk about first ocean or water. So if we see ocean water is a mixture of dissolved gases. Why ocean water or sea water is undrinkable or unusable? That is due to this property, that this is having dissolved gases and salts in the pure water. What happened when the glaciers melt, when the water comes from the mountains and rocks, or after rainfall, it comes down from the rivers, by the rivers and lakes, and it dissolves lots of salts from the rocks inside it. And in the last, when it reaches to the sea, it just having compiled and lots of salts present inside it. So we can see that sodium chloride is a major salt which is present inside it, and with that magnesium chloride, magnesium sulfate, calcium sulfate, lots of salts are present in there. If you see, we are having lots of minerals in ocean water like chlorine, sodium, magnesium, sulfur, calcium, and other salts and other minerals are also present. So most of the quantity is chlorine. Chlorine will be present in the form of chloride with sodium chloride, and with like other salts, magnesium chloride, etc. So, if you see in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and lots of Arab countries, there are treatment plants which are called desalination plants, which are used to separate salts from the water, and water um, water becomes a clean, and that clean water is used later on after filtration for drinking purposes and lots of purposes at home and for industries as well. Desalination means, D means without, saline means a salt. So the they make the water desalined, means they separate out the salts from this from the sea and ocean water. So number two type of the surface water, that is fresh water, and that is mostly present in the as a frozen form. So when that is present in the frozen form, you can see they form glaciers. So what happened when the water melts in when there is less temperature, so water freezes out on that area where there is mountain, because at the height at the mountain there is cold temperature, so water freezes out. So every year when there is a rainfall, accumulation of water that freezes out layer by layer on the previous layer, so it forms a very very big ice sheets, or those are called glaciers. So when the glaciers melt, so what happened, you can see when the glaciers melt in a summer, they melt into the water, and the water comes down into the streams, lakes, and rivers, and then into the ocean. So fresh water is then present into the running form into the streams, lakes, canals, and rivers. That is fresh water, and that can be utilized. So if we see this one, this is a very critical condition of our earth now, that because glaciers are melting very rapidly, and that is very very dangerous for our earth, our globe, because due to the melting of the glaciers, it means the water is increasing in the oceans, and that is happened due to the high temperature of the earth due to pollution. In the previous century, we have increased 1 degree temperature, 1 degree centigrade, and it is a huge number. 1 degree centigrade temperature rise, and that is called global warming due to the emission of smoke and burning of fuel and pollution. So our earth gets warmer day by day, and glaciers are melting. So if we see another type of fresh water, when the glaciers melt down, when there is lowland, when we come down on the from the mountains, so there is lowland where the water does not run off, then it just collected over there. Somehow it is just seeped into the ground, but somehow it just gathers over there, and from that water, that the streams or lakes or small streams come out from that water, that is also fresh, because continuously it is coming from the mountains and collecting here. Due to this lowland, this area is accumulated continuously with water, and water does not escape properly. That area that remains wet for longer period of time, that's why they are called wetland. So where there is water, there is life. So you can see lots of plants and animals started to live over there due to wetland, due to presence of the water. So the organisms have made a new habitat over there. So this is a rich in biodiversity, like rich in living organisms. So if you see a different view of wetlands, so you can see different parts of the wetlands in different parts of the world. So that just appears like lake, but this water is fresh, and it goes into the streams, and the people use this water as well. But somewhere it is just gets pond like a structure because the water gets stagnant, and that is not good for our health. So if we see the next uh, type of water, that is water beneath the surface of the earth or underwater, under the surface of the earth, that water is collected by the rainwater. When there rain falls, some rainwater evaporates, some run off in the streams and lakes, but some soaks down into the ground. When the water soaks down into the ground, so what happened? The water that soaks in the ground is called groundwater. We see in this picture, so you can see the water is collected here, and some will evaporate, some run off in the form of rivers and just moves into the lake, but some seeps down, and some soaks down under the ground, into the soil. When it is collected in more amount, so water rises up, and the upper surface of that water, that is called water table. And when that water table is raised, it means there is more accumulation in underground water. So that will also create a problem, we'll discuss later on. But this water table, and this water is fresh, and we that is filtered also, and we can use it for different purposes. What people do, people just bore like make a very big hole in the form of well, artesian well, like the well which is very deep under the ground, and the fresh water comes out in the form of well. And somewhere the people just having bore, or like they do dig a very deep hole into the ground, and the water comes out in the form of a bore, in form of a hole, and they just use that water from the hand pump. And this water is very refreshing, cold, as well as drinkable, usable, and that is a fresh water. And what happened when there is too much rainfall, so the water table gets raised, and because more accumulation of water is done under the ground, and aquifers are formed. These are called aquifers, like accumulation of the water under the rocks under the ground. And when there is less rainfall, so what happened, because water is utilized more and it is evaporated also, so water table gets low. So here is a problem also, because we cannot having more water for like drinking purposes and all other purposes. So um, the water is having when the water table rises up and reaches near the surface of the soil, so this water may comes out in the form of spring and geyser. This is very very fascinating view when we see some springs and geysers coming out of the earth. Geyser name is given because they are hot springs, and they make the water hot. And like geysers in our home, they also just make the water hot and warm for our daily purposes in the washroom, in the kitchen, etc. So we are having lots of hot springs, natural springs, which are found in Thia Gully in Kashmir, Pakistan. So if you see this one, this is water table is very near to the earth surface. So what happened, by the pressure underground, pressure is increased, and what happened, the water gets hot and warm, so it just escapes out, split this area of the surface and escapes out from the surface under the ground, and that it just seems like this something is bubbling and coming out like a small volcanoes, by which the water is coming out in the form of steam, because water gets hot. That's why it is just change into stream, and later on this steam will make clouds in that area, and like the again the rainfall will be happened. So this is a very interesting and fascinating the fact about underground water. So, my lovely students, we have finished the first two topics of this chapter. And what are some more facts about water, which maybe you know or you don't know? We will talk about some impurities and cleaning steps of water, and then we will see some daily uses in the next lecture. Inshallah, wish you good luck for the next lecture.